Hey everyone, this is going to be my October pickups vid. Now, I've completely spent way too much money this month, more than I should have. Mainly because I found a lot of rarities and a lot of bargains that I didn't expect from stores that sell games but they get overlooked, and they were kind of getting rid of some of their DS and Wii stock, and I got two bargains for more than half price, which is pretty good. So to start, the first game that I got was Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slide. I really like this game. It's a very unorthodox action RPG. It can be considered an action adventure, and it can also be considered a strategy game. The game's about a little slime named Rocket, who basically what happens is his town gets ransacked by a organization named as the Plob, and they steal all the slimes in his town except for him. So he embarks on a quest to basically save all 100 slimes around the island. How he goes about this is you physically control him through the areas, and you smash into chests that lock the slimes. And basically, if you save a certain number of slimes, they'll unlock a new piece of the town. And what I really love about this is there's so much to offer. Like, to attack enemies, you actually got to slam into them, body slam into them, and you can either kill them, or if you knock them into the air, you can catch them, and you can actually chuck them onto a car or a raft, and they bring them back to town, and it adds to your monster collection. And the other cool thing is there's a ammunition system in this where you can pick up anything on the map, whether it be fruit, swords, or boulders, and you can throw them onto the cart or raft and send them back to the town for your ammunition stockpile. Now, how this works is the ammunition is saved for later in the game when you can procure this humongous tank. And what happens is the Plob has all these massive tanks that you have to fight against. And this is where the game enters the strategy phase, because for the tank battles, you actually have to command your own tank. And how you do this is you have to manually put in the ammunition. Like, the ammunition will be offloaded, and then you'd have to control Rocket to pick it up and put it in the cannons. And it looks quite simple, but it gets quite challenging in the early stages. It gets really easy when you actually get your own crew later on. What I did is I got them to man the cannons, and I basically charged the tank with Rocket. And the coolest thing is you can charge Rocket into the tank and break open their doors. And once you broke into the doors, you can go inside and mess with their crew members and stop them from unloading their cannons. It's just a real fun little game. It's just got a lot of great humor from the Plob's part. Just a lot of gut-wrenching moments. I really enjoyed this game. If you're a Dragon Quest fan and you haven't got this yet, then you need to get this ASAP. You will really enjoy it. These next couple of games were from a series that I used to be, I wouldn't say a fan, but a supporter of back in the day. And that is Star Ocean from Enix. For one reason or another, I got rid of them because I needed the money, and I kind of regretted doing so. I really didn't have any notice until a couple of weeks ago, where one of my favorite YouTubers, Murugaru553, the host of Gaijin Gaming and Gaijin Gaming Gaiden, did a review on Star Ocean, the second story. Now, what's really cool is it's a really good review. You should check it out yourself. I will provide a link to his channel. He's got a lot of great videos, and he does a lot of great reviews on RPGs such as Fire Emblem and Ys. But he did this review on the second story, and it brought back memories of when I played it back in the PlayStation day, because I hired it out for a good week or two. And the sad thing is I was really enjoying it until I got to the second disc, and apparently there was a major glitch in the game that prevented me from finishing the game. It just stuff up, and this enemy kept respawning at the same spot. I think it was a gorilla, and it's prevented me from advancing. And then it would actually come up in a big display, the game has, there was an error. And that was the first time in a console game that an error came up, and it came up in the same window and font as the dialogue. So I kind of thought that's weird, but I was really discouraged and I didn't play it since then. Later on down the track, I played Star Ocean 3, finished that, but traded it in. I kind of regret doing that. But what would happen a couple of days later after I watched his review, I found both these games for reasonable cheap. I like the fact that they formed the moon there. That's really cool. But I really love the PSP, and the fact that you got 1 and 2 remade with the same engine, I kind of thought that was too hard not to pass up. So I bought these, and they're actually quite long games, and I got both these probably cost the same as the PS3 game. So it's going to be a lot of hours spent getting back into these games. I will go find Star Ocean 3 again, and I'm hoping to find a cheap copy of Star Ocean 4 for my PlayStation 3. And when I get all 4 games, I'll probably get back into playing them. Next game I got, one of the guys at the game store wanted to hear my thoughts on this game. It only came out last week in Australia, and that is Final Fantasy The Four Heroes of Light. Now, I gotta admit, this is pretty cool. I really like the art style, the children's book art style. It's really, I like it. It's really great, and I really like the music. Playing this game for about 5 hours, I can tell that Square Enix made this for newcomers into the RPG genres, and the other group they made this for is people who got into RPGs in the late 80s, early 90s. It's one of those very nostalgic retro RPGs. If you played Final Fantasy 3 or 4 for the DS, it's made by the same crew at Matrix. And I wasn't a big fan of Final Fantasy 3, but I absolutely loved the shit out of Final Fantasy 4. That was like one of my favorite games on the DS. It's my favorite game on the DS, and one of my favorite Final Fantasies of all time. So when I heard they were doing this, I couldn't pass it up. It's got some cool things. At the first, it seems a bit simple, but because it's more simple than the average RPG, it's a lot more challenging. There's no MP system. Everything's used by this action points. Even attack costs an action point. And the other thing is you can't target anything, whether you want to attack something or heal someone. Basically, the computer chooses for you. It will automatically choose a target for you, and when you want to heal someone, it chooses someone with the least percentage of HP. So it is kind of annoying, but that's kind of half the challenge it presents. I kind of am enjoying what I've played so far. The one thing about this game that interests me the most is the crown system, which acts as the job system. And there's a lot of crowns yet to be gained. And I've played Final Fantasy 3 and 5, and there are a lot of jobs that you can do in those games. I've looked at the crowns in Four Heroes of Light, and there's a lot of them. I think it's probably the #1 game with the most jobs in any Final Fantasy game. The coolest thing is when you get these crowns, you can unload gems to upgrade them. And when you upgrade a crown, it gives you a skill. So if you put as many hours as you can, you probably will be rewarded and make the game a little bit easier. I'll probably do a more in-depth review when I finish the game. The next game I got today, and I got it for less than half its full price, and I thought this is an absolute bargain. And this is a series that I've recently got back into, and that is Kingdom Hearts for the DS. Now, this goes for about $70 retail, and I picked it up for $30. I thought that was a bargain. Now, I've wanted to pick this up ever since I beat Birth by Sleep. When I got home, I couldn't wait. I popped this in. I've played about 2 hours. And a lot of people have mixed reviews. They say it's not that great. Well, I've played it for 2 hours. I think it's fantastic. I think for being a DS game, they kind of pushed it as far as it can do. And it delivers very, very nice visuals. And I really like the music. And the action for DS is fantastic, I must admit. I'm looking forward to playing more of this game. The next game was the second game I got for cheap. unfortunately I can't play it, and that is Final Fantasy the Crystalbearers. Now, I can't play this because my Wii is broken. And it's broken for the weirdest reason. It will turn on, but as soon as I turn on the Wii, thousands of dead pixels will flood the screen in waves. Now, I should have. It's been broken for nearly half a year now, and I haven't even attempted to call Nintendo just simply because I don't have the money to fix it. And some people are telling me for the money it costs to repair a Wii, I might as well just go out and buy a new one. So I'm kind of tumbling over it. The sad thing is I want to repair my Wii because it has East Book 1 and 2 on there, and I really want to play that again. But when I get my new Wii, this will probably be the first game I'm going to pop in. It looks really interesting. I thought it didn't look like your conventional RPG. I thought it was just an action adventure game. But a lot of websites classify this as an action RPG, so I wanted to buy this for my Final Fantasy collection. And from what I've seen in the trailer, it looks pretty fun, so definitely give it a go. Alrighty, this next game, actually, I can't consider it an RPG as much as I want to. It comes from a series that has a lot of action RPGs. A lot of people don't consider them action RPGs, they consider them action adventure games or action platforming games. And it's got the dreaded curse of being called the Metroidvania games. And I'm referring to the Castlevania games. And the game I got, no surprise, is Castlevania Lord of Shadow. Now, unfortunately, it does dish that classic Symphony of the Night engine-esque game that has been used brilliantly for the last 10.5 years, and I'm a big fan of all Igarashi's games. Whenever there's a Castlevania game come out, I rush to buy it day one. I even bought my Nintendo DS just for Dawn of Sorrow. I'm that big of a Castlevania fan. So when this got released, I bought it day one. I've known about this game in production for a long time, and the first couple months I was very much a troll. I wasn't big on forums saying this is going to suck, but in the back of my head I was like, this is a bad move, this is a bad move. But the fact that Hideo Kojima is the producer kind of made me feel more at ease, because Hideo Kojima is the greatest video game designer in our age. He has made one of my favorite all-time non-RPG series, and that is the Metal Gear Solid series. And Metal Gear Solid 4 is my all-time favorite PS3 game. And since this is the next game he came off after Peace Walker, I thought that's pretty cool. Now, he didn't have a hand in actually making this game, but he was the producer and the overseer. There was a team called Mercury Stream in Europe that did this, and I was kind of worried because it wasn't Japanese made. But I got to say, for what they've done a really good job. It's very hard to recommend this to the hardcore Igarashi fans, but if you're willing to basically put that out of your mind and treat this as a completely new experience and as your first new Castlevania game, you may enjoy it more than you should. If you're big into action games like God of War, you probably will enjoy this a lot more than your other Castlevania fan. If you're one of the old school Castlevania fan who like the platforming games, you may get a kick out of this. I really enjoy the visuals, I really enjoy the music, I especially enjoy the voice acting. It is A-grade, top-notch from some of your best actors in the industry like Robert Carlyle, Patrick Stewart and Jason Isaacs. They do a tremendous job. It's a bit on the hard side. I gotta warn you, I suggest people, if you want a cruisy journey, put it onto easy. Even at normal, this game can pose a challenge. And that's all the games I've done. This coming next few days, I'm going to be showing off my Shin Megami Tensei collection in all its demonic glory. So until then, catch you later, guys.